Hello, everyone. I'm Araddhya Mehtta. I'm the country director for ActionAid in Myanmar. I would like to share a little bit with you what's happening in the country and also to share some of the work that ActionAid has been doing in light of the unfolding political crisis. Myanmar's military launched a coup on the 1st of February 2021 when it detained the country's civilian leader, Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, and her top cabinet leaders in the early morning raids and seized power from a government established after the elections in November 2020. Several senior leaders were detained. A one-year state of emergency was announced by the military, with ultimate authority, judicial and legislative power was transferred to the Army Chief, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing. Since the coup, we have seen a violent crackdown on civil society, on dissent. We have seen that the protests are gaining momentum, but also the tactics of crackdown have become equally severe. The military has revoked the license of 5 national media outlets. They've imposed martial law in several townships in Yangon and Mandalay, where we have our programs and where many of our staff live. We're seeing the arrest of journalists, of human rights defenders, activists across the country. Almost 3,000 people have been arrested since February and close to 300 dead. There is a nationwide ban on gatherings of 5 or more people. There is a nationwide curfew from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. Many banks and Western Union in Myanmar remain closed. The mobile internet outage started on the 15th of March, and authorities have indicated that it will extend indefinitely. Despite the crackdown on civil society, we have seen a powerful movement emerge. The civil disobedience movement has swept the country as a mark of resistance to the military. We have seen a dazzling array of protests. The Iron Campaign, the Silent Strike, peaceful marches have occurred in every major city of Myanmar. Women are at the forefront of these protests. They have gathered for daily marches representing teacher unions, garment factory workers, medical workers, to name a few. We've also seen the growing strength of the committee representing the Prithyangshul Hluttaw, which consists of the elected representatives from the 2020 elections who see themselves as a legitimate ruling body. All the ActionAid Myanmar staff are affected by the current situation. ActionAid Myanmar closely works with activists, civil society leaders who face the risk of arrest and detention. Among the people killed, detained and arrested, several of them have been women. Children are also being killed, seriously wounded. Some of them have been from our child sponsorship program. They're being exposed to horrific scenes of violence, in some cases directed against family members, putting them at risk of severe psychological distress. The migrant workers that we support are facing challenges with access to livelihood. Many workers have not had their salaries paid to them. They've lost their jobs and they've returned to their hometowns. Fuel and food prices have escalated, making access to basic services very difficult. We saw that COVID-19 already affected the poor and the vulnerable very adversely, and with the coup, we are seeing a further deterioration of their situation. With inward remittance being a problem, aid work has also halted. Many of the displaced people are receiving less support. As you might have seen, the peaceful civil disobedience movement has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. People's protests and the civil disobedience movement has shown incredible resilience and just how strong the people of Myanmar are. These protests have been creative. They've been able to bring people together from all backgrounds. The collective solidarity is very inspiring. We need to continue to work to support the most vulnerable groups in this period of political instability. We are hoping to do that through psychosocial support, trauma counseling, gender-based violence, its prevention, response, livelihood support, and meeting the humanitarian needs of people. Our inspiration here is really the collective strength that the people of Myanmar have shown and continue to show. The hope is for the return of democracy. It is unclear as to how likely it is for it to happen given the fluid situation that we're seeing unfold. We're exploring different scenarios in the current context, whether we see a reformist military regime or an authoritarian one, and ideally, eventually, a return to democracy. In either of these circumstances, we hope that we're able to continue to support the most vulnerable groups in Myanmar without legitimizing the de facto regime. The international community's support for Myanmar is important. We have seen that the French embassy in Myanmar has refused to recognize the State Administration Council led by the military. The US, the UK, the EU have imposed targeted sanctions. The European Union has suspended budgetary support to the government of over 240 million euros. The US has frozen military assets close to $1 billion US dollars. The members of ASEAN are divided on their stance, with many of the neighboring governments attending Armed Forces Day and coming out in support of Myanmar, while others being more vocal about the atrocities committed by the military on innocent civilians. I hope that the international community will continue to maintain its focus and interest in Myanmar, and that the ordinary people of Myanmar are able to continue their support for democracy peacefully. I would like to end by thanking ActionAid Myanmar staff who have shown incredible courage and strength during these difficult moments, and also to thank members of the Global Secretariat who are working hard to support our programs in Myanmar and ensuring our safety and security on a daily basis. Thank you.